la la la, no DMCA, la 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 la, no DMCA, la 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 la, no DMCA, no DMCA, la 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 la, no DMCA, la 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 la, no DO, la 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 la, no DMCA, no DMCA, no DMCA.
So the California guidelines could overhaul the way many school districts approach math instruction. The draft rejected the idea of naturally gifted children, recommended against shifting certain students into accelerated courses in middle school, and tried to promote high-level math courses that could serve as alternatives to calculus, like data science or statistics. Okay, so first of all, if you reject the idea of naturally gifted children, it's because you're an idiot. Some kids are gifted. Period. End of story. Some kids have higher IQs than others. And shock of shocks, it turns out that there is a heavy genetic component to that. That if both parents are neuroscientists, there's a good shot that their kid is going to have a higher IQ than somebody, both of whose parents are on welfare.
Wait, what? What the That's literally not even true. Even before even the notion that like IQ inherently is just like a idiotic metric for anything. Bro, that is just like straight eugenicist arguments, dude. The entire point of a Common Core, like public education, national curriculum is to level the playing field. IQ is greatly impacted by your material conditions. There are studies that have been conducted in India, for example. Similar groups' IQ levels have been tested in like drought season where there was major famine and when people were actually well fed. The IQ numbers have dramatically shifted in that process because it's not like a hereditary advantage that people have. It's more so about your surroundings, your material conditions. Are you well fed? Have you gone and gotten the best kind of education? Tying welfare to like hereditary predisposition is insanely racist. It is probably like, this is the nerd version of saying the N-word. That's it. It's literally just the nerdiest way of saying the N-word and being like mega racist. I took a DNA test recently. Turns out I'm 60% welfare. There's a site that predicts your income based on zip code in the United States here. Yes, it is a way better predictive force. Your zip code that you were born into or that you grew up in is a better predictor of your future income than anything else. I wonder why. Those are not mutually exclusive. If you're starving, you can't think right, but you're not going to be a genius if you just eat really well. I wonder if there's like a way to make sure that we maximize the geniuses though. If you want to think about it from like the most productive way possible, you're missing the point. The most productive way of looking at this from an even hyper-capitalist POV is to ensure that equality of opportunity is truly achieved by leveling the material conditions in the bottom side as best as you possibly physically, humanly can, so that a kid growing up in like India in fucking famine season has access to the same fucking resources and can be one day a fucking incredible engineer and a mega genius rather than die because they couldn't fucking feed themselves. That's the point. Also, high IQ isn't the only component. Many people with lower IQs but better personalities excel more in their career. Of course.
I'm not saying that's inevitably true. There are many smart people who are on welfare, I'm sure. They're not all that stupid neuroscientists, but there are, I'm sure, smart people on welfare. But if you have to take the average person, and all you know about them is child of two neuroscientists versus child of two people on welfare in a free American society, whose kid do you think is going to have the higher IQ? To pretend that that doesn't exist in real life is stupid. It's just dumb. It's like saying that two tall parents are not likely to have a height-gifted child.
Holy shit. He's just straight up saying that, like, IQ is a genetic trait passed on. Two of the underlying premises that are completely fucked up and wrong here, the hidden premises that he's operating off of. One, IQ is, like, measuring your intelligence and therefore measuring your success, and it's an important metric when it's not. That's wrong. And two, it is a trait that you are passing down to your next of kin. This is just straight the fuck up a eugenicist line. This is why Sam Harris had the bell curve guy on. You know what I mean? Because like IQ is the neat little bow that ties racist people's beliefs together. Okay, because outside of that, like racism is ultimately like a very spiritual thing. There is not really like any materialist understanding of racism. So you have to ground your racist worldview with like some kind of scientific explanation, which is how you arrive at race realism, which is how you arrive at scientific racism, eugenicism. That's precisely why the bell curve is such an important piece of work for racists, because this is like their theory. You know what I mean? This is the way that their world finally makes sense. The pro-slavery scientists had the same idea a century ago. Exactly. And it was fucking destroyed because it's not real. It's not a real thing. Lemafeo, both my parents are lacking in the gray matter department, but I'm still in grad school for data science and engineering. It's dumb as fuck. This is a really dumb argument. IQ is the most common thing misused by people with IQ too low to understand. Yeah. IQ is literally been linked multiple times to access to education and environment more strongly than genes. He's literally quoting outdated and disproven data. Yes, your IQ literally swings wildly when you don't have enough fucking food in your stomach, dude. It's so stupid.
To pretend that intelligence isn't inborn at all, and we are all sort of tabula rasa, is silly. It's just not true by any available metric. Okay, but this is what California wanted to teach. They recommended against shifting students into accelerated courses, and because they want to punish skill sets. They want to defeat the skillsocracy. The last thing you want to do is reward people who are gifted, who, by the way, should use their gifts on behalf of society in a free market society. Free markets allow people to distribute the uses of their gifts widely.
Literally untrue. First of all, the free market is a unicorn. It does not exist. Okay, it's as real as, like, you know, the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus. There's no such thing. But besides the point, let's say there is such a thing. Okay, the closest we have arrived to the free market is what with the system that we have here in America, right? Shouts out to Ronald Reagan and neoliberalism internationally. But a neoliberal economy, the pro-capitalist, pro-free market neoliberalism, has created a system that has such vast levels of income and wealth inequality that you are literally making sure that just like the most efficient distribution of commerce, the most efficient distribution of life-saving necessary resources, whether it be medicine or fucking food or shelter, is allocated to those who can pay for it rather than those who need it, you're doing the exact same thing where you reduce productivity of your labor force because you ultimately are not creating equal opportunity for people under that free market system, and basically creating a top-heavy structure where those who are recipients of intergenerational wealth or those who come from more affluent backgrounds have access to better resources, have access to then go into better schools overall, have higher IQs on IQ tests, even though it's like fucking nonsensical and silly and doesn't matter. And you're destroying opportunities of, like, I don't know, a child born in South Central to actually maximize their potential. You have no fucking clue how good that kid could do. You have no fucking clue how good some kid in the South Side of Chicago would do. Okay? Because you have never even wanted to create a system in which that kid has a similar structure, a similar type of education, and a similar fucking like experience growing up in more formative years. So this notion that, like, you know, this is actually a equal opportunity system is bullshit. That has never happened. I'm from South Africa, where we have racial quotas for universities to address apartheid. I grew up wealthy and did better in high school than a lot of poorer kids in my uni class. Those kids once put on the same level as me at uni absolutely cooked me in every course. That made me realize our access to resources affects our outcomes. I think that was pretty good. South African is hard as fuck to do. I can't do it. Why are you Kiwi? I understand this point, but if a student understands the material more easily, shouldn't they be able to skip ahead, or am I misunderstanding the proposal? I didn't even fucking focus on what Ben Shapiro was criticizing because, like, 90% of the time it's a complete misdirection and it's like completely fucking made up. I don't even know what he's like criticizing. And I basically just focused on his idiotic take on, like, IQ and race realism. His understanding of genetics is from the 80s? No, his understanding of genetics is one that reinforces his worldview. That's the point. None of these motherfuckers actually care about anything that they're saying as long as you can, like, justify having a fucking horrifically antiquated worldview. Equal opportunity, boys. Actual equal opportunity. Not the one that, like, America has said that they have, but real equal opportunity is at the heart of what Marxists should strive for, okay?
If we survive this as a free country, historians will just ask, how did this happen? How did people get governed by irrational fears? Whether it is of the non-vaccinated who are the pariahs of America, as I have not seen in my lifetime. During the AIDS crisis, can you imagine if gay men and intravenous drug users were the vast majority of people with AIDS? Had they been pariahs the way the non-vaccinated are?
Bro, he was alive back then. And they were. Partially because of him. Like, he was a conservative commentator back then. I'm pretty sure I could find Dennis Prager talking about, like, you know, people with AIDS and how they were, like, degenerate homosexuals, so they deserve to die or some shit. Like, it wouldn't be that. They were literally made into pariahs. You probably made them into pariahs. What the fuck? Can you imagine if that happened, dude? That's crazy. NRO's Dennis Prager. Heterosexual AIDS is an entirely manufactured myth. Oh my God. The year was 2014, dude. Bro, I'm Dennis Prager, and I forgot what I said in 2014. Yeah, only the gays get AIDS. AIDS denialism that suggests that AIDS is a gay problem, so heterosexuals don't have to worry about it. The homeless, heterosexuals, AIDS, and rape. For years, mainstream liberal media pervade false information supplied by Mitch Schneider, a major liberal activist behalf of the homeless. Likewise, we were told by gay and AIDS activist groups that AIDS doesn't discriminate, meaning the heterosexuals in America were as likely to contract the HIV virus as homosexuals. It was never true in America. Africa may be another story for other reasons, emphasis added. Wow. He was like, oh, I'm going to be racist too by the end of this. Can you imagine if the gays were made to be a pariah like I did in 2014? This guy's psychotic. If HIV were transmissible by breathing on someone, conservatives would put all gay people in concentration camps. Oh, 100%. And he would be like, oh, if you're straight and you have AIDS, that's not real. According to Dennis Prager, straights can't get AIDS. So let's do the Gofart, Representative Paul Gofart memes, because I briefly talked about this. I really touched on it yesterday, but like, I personally think that there's just something really funny about like having a based, red-pilled, Chad nationalist groiper intern cutting this fucking dumbass thing together. Okay, he's like, this is gonna be so sick and so red-pilled for Paul Gosar of all fucking people. You know what I mean? An anime music video. Like, what a sexless fucking weirdo turbo cuck this person is. Especially because it's literally for Paul Gosar. Your cartoon anime scares me with your jetpack, flying, and lightsabers. It's a cartoon, relax. It is very clearly some fucking Chad Groiper poster. And it's like, okay, none of the people that know what this is has ever voted and will ever vote. Like, people that appreciate this are not your fucking voters, okay? They're not the Arizona voters. Also, anyone who is like scared of anime is delusional. People have just been clowning on it. And it's ultimately it's like Paul Gosar is just doing the exact same shit that everyone else does. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm posting these like based red-pilled groiper memes for Paul Gosar. So what? Ultimately, he can like enact tort reform. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, sick, dude. So cool, Chad hyper nationalist working for Paul Gosar for fucking free. What a wonderful, ideological goal that you have achieved for yourself. Like, here, I mean, this is the guy you're working for.
Paul's absolutely not working for his district.
If they care about health care, they care about their children's health care, they would hold him to account. If they care about jobs, they would hold him to account.
If he actually cared about people in rural Arizona, I bet he'd be fighting for Social Security, for better access to health care.
And he's not listening to you, and he doesn't have your interests at heart. My name is Tim Gosar.
David Gosar.
Grace Gosar.
Joan Gosar.
Gaston Gosar.
Jennifer Gosar.
Paul Gosar is my brother.
My brother.
And I endorse Dr. Brill.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly endorse Dr. David Brill for Congress.
I'm Dr. David Brill, and I approve this message.
Bro, that's so funny. His entire family, they got his whole family to be like, yo, this dude is dog shit, okay? Don't vote for this fucking racist piece of shit. Still lost, though. Ultimately, Dr. Brill got fucking grilled, okay? Paul Gosar still won because he's a based Chad nationalist. Silly groipers, dude. We're gonna be doing well for the white working class. Like, we're gonna do ethnic cleansing one day with Paul Gosar. And it's like, literally all he's gonna do is like push for fucking, tax cuts, an eclectic group of values that like rich Arizonans want. Like, I don't know, fucking deregulation in a key sector in Arizona. And that's all you're gonna get. But like, in your mind, you're like, we're fucking fighting, dude. We're gonna build a wall and we're gonna like fucking melt every Mexican based red-pilled, and it's like, no, dude, you're just making anime for a guy who, first of all, is not even gonna help him fucking win, okay, anything, and you're just making anime for a guy who is the same as every other fucking Republican, okay? You should look up the upcoming infrastructure for semiconductor manufacturing in Arizona. Billions are on the way for Intel. We should build fucking semiconductors in this country. It's gonna be a matter of national security, you know what I mean? That's like the way to get domestic manufacturing back in the United States. So AOC tweeted about her appearance in the video. Oh, Jesus. So while I was en route to Glasgow, a creepy member I work with who fundraises for neo-Nazi groups shared a fantasy video of him killing me, and he'll face no consequences because GOP leaders cheer him with excuses. Fun Monday. Well, back to work because institutions don't protect women of color. Bro, look, I love, this. I'm like, I defend AOC regularly when, it's like defensible shit. But the thing here is like, why? Like, why do you take this seriously? Just fucking dunk on him. You're literally like our age, dude. You're like 31. You know this is not fucking serious. Just like, I guess it plays well for the fucking libs and shit. Remember when Yoho accosted me on the Capitol and called me a fucking bitch? Remember when Green ran after me a few months ago screaming and reaching? Remember when she talked to my office the first time with insurrectionists, people locked inside? All my job, nothing ever happens. Anyways, back to business. This dude is just a collection of wet toothpicks anyway. White supremacy is extremely fragile people and sad men like him whose self-concept relies on the myth that he was born superior because deep down he knows he couldn't open a pickle jar or read a whole book by himself. Yeah, the last tweet is good, but like, don't even take this shit seriously. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's fucking dumb as fuck. Just hit him where it hurts. I don't understand why she like actually fucking tweets about this like as though this is like a legitimate threat or anything. She should have just been like, this dude is a wet noodle, okay? His dick doesn't work, and that's precisely why he has some fucking based Groiper Chad nationalist dipshit in his intern, like some base fucking intern tweet out this like anime music video, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, ratio plus you're a weeb. Lol, exactly. Bro, it was switch positions, you would totally be feeling that way. I mean, dude, AOC gets a lot of fucking flack, a lot of hate, and legitimate fucking threats to her life. So do I, by the way. Come on. Let's be fucking real here for a second. But ultimately, if some fucking Republican was like, ooh, I'm making an anime music video. It's like Dan Crenshaw made an anime music video where it's like fucking him and me fighting. I would love that. That would be funny as fuck. I would make fun of that nonstop. There's a difference between like credible threats to your life, legitimate threats. Like January 6th is like serious. I'm not going to make fun of her for that. And then there's a difference between that and like an anime music video.
20 months.